Super chat from Jupiter 1777. It says
Hey, Jupiter.
Carter and Carrie, what are your thoughts about the media bias chart? I try to reference it before I believe any media outlet. Well, just so everyone knows what you're talking about, let's put the media bias chart up. That's the media bias chart. Uh, it shows allegedly shows political bias from on the corporate media on a scale from left to right. Now, based on the scale being from left to right, you can pretty much guess what I think about the chart because I think that's the wrong scale. But uh, I I also like this article ratings original fact recording from fabricated information. I think I don't know that this scale is correct, but I will say this. I think grabbing stuff from both sides of this chart probably isn't a bad idea if you're just trying to get your info. I don't like the chart, but like for example, Breitbart, I read Breitbart and Fox News sometimes, right? They're over here. New York Post sometimes, right? I also read MSNBC, CNN, Daily Beast, Mother Jones sometimes. Where's the other one I was looking at? Slate. Most of these over here, right? So I try and make sure to have both.
Well, I think, well, first of all,
But
I agree with
notice
you.
the AP is at the apex, so there's a
Yes,
problem.
this is a problem. And I agree with you that you should read things from all across this chart so that because there's no way to get unbiased news. You have to read it and you have to use your critical thinking and you have to figure out discern what's fact from fiction. And a good way to do that is by making sure you're reading stuff from a variety of different perspectives. But this chart is skewed. This chart is it needs to be fact checked because, as you're pointing out, the AP is right there in the center as being neutral. NPR isn't very far from being
Well, look
neutral.
at
That's
ABC.
BS.
ABC is right
Look at
there.
ABC. Right. CNN is pretty close to the center. That is
NPR is
bullshit.
only slightly left.
Yeah, that's bullshit. The AP, let me give you an example. The AP has been putting out social justice ideology like in overdrive for the past 4 months. They've said that they don't want journalists using the word riot,
Right.
that they it's Orwellian. They're choosing what words. They've put out some stuff about gender and sex that's really social justice in origin. I mean, I don't think I have to explain the bias of NPR and CNN and BuzzFeed, especially the Washington Post. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Those are not in the center. But see, this is what people on the left believe. This is what I used to believe. I
Right.
used to look at this and say, yeah, this is pretty accurate. You got all these things like Breitbart way on the right. If this were real, if this were actually accurate, they would have CNN,
It
I
would be
think,
off the
even
chart to the
further.
left over
It would
here
be off
somewhere
the chart. It
and
would be
down.
even further. It would be even further to the left than Breitbart is to the right. It would be further to the left than Breitbart is to the right. If this were accurate, they would have NPR probably about where Breitbart is on the left.
Right. And actually,
Um,
even stuff like Wall Street Journal, I I I don't. I think they've actually moved quite a ways left in the last 10 years. I don't know that I would even classify
put it
them
on the right
on the
anymore.
right anymore.
It's more towards the center now.
I mean, I would, yeah. I mean, I would say even the Wall Street Journal is a little left. So the thing you have to keep in mind about all of these kind of charts, it's the same thing that you have to keep in mind about fact checkers. Um, they go in with their own framework and their own narrative and their own viewpoint of things. So if they're coming from a if they're coming from let's just say they're not trying to be biased at all, but they're coming from a an average or a median position based on culture. Where is culture right now? What have they absorbed culturally? They're not coming in. Think of them as not coming in any kind of thoughtful way, but like where are they culturally? That's the framework that they're going to use. And where's culture put people? That's the framework they're going to
Okay.
use to make these decisions, right? And so that framework, when you start to set up framework like that, you can start having questions. You can start even framing your analysis in ways that bias one or another, just by how you even approach it. This is similar to how I was complaining a while ago. I was complaining about those tests that would test whether you were like libertarian or on the right or whatever, those little charts, and a lot of them would have questions that bothered me because they would be asking about, they would, oh no, I was thinking about personality test. The personality test would be asking you like, oh, do you think there should be increased funding for art? And of course, they're trying to see whether I value art in their personality test, not whether I think art is in the proper jurisdiction of government. And so my answer would be no. I love art. There should be more funding, but it shouldn't come from the government. So I couldn't really answer the question the way that would actually be reflective of what they're trying to measure. And that's because the person building the psychometric test has an assumption that if I like art, I must therefore want government funding of art. And so that's how they're measuring my like of art. So they come in with they
Okay.
come in with frameworks.
Somebody
Framework.
somebody in the chat
Mm-hmm.
said, well, at least the Weather Channel is unbiased. So I just want to give you an update on that. I did a quick search for the Weather
No, they're
Channel and
not.
social justice. You can do a quick search for Weather Channel and social justice. Here's one of the top articles that comes up. This is from Mother Jones, which if you look even at this skewed media bias chart, they do admit Mother Jones is on the left. Mother Jones, why we teamed up with the Weather Channel to bring you a different kind of 2020 climate debate. Okay, that's a headline. Here's a headline from The Hill. Weather Channel to talk environmental justice, in quotes. Environmental justice. See how they put social justice and everything. Environmental justice with 2020 candidates. So look, I haven't read these articles yet. I just pulled them up on my phone, but they're definitely starting to. Oh, look at this. A conversation on social justice in the aftermath of the Taylor verdict. Like they're definitely starting to move into this social justice sphere. I'm sure there are people at the Weather Channel who are social justice ideologues. So
Keep in
it's kind of
mind
funny.
keep in mind that the corporate media, um, and most people, most of the cathedral, who are the kind of people, the intellectuals, the universities, the corporate media, those are the kind of people who are going to be making these charts. Keep in mind that they are the same people that honestly believe things like, well, the science on climate change is settled. We have to do blah, blah, blah. The science on masks is settled. We have to do, like, they view the mask mandates as the neutral default rational scientific position, and deviation from that in one direction is automatically on the right. It's automatically anti-science. So in fact, in their chart, that might actually push you down to like non-facts because it's not the WHO approved facts. So the scales of that chart are not, they're in complete control. They're completely dependent on the psychology of the people making that chart.
By the way, Daniel Keene in chat said, I was just being facetious
Oh,
about the Weather Channel.
oh,
Well, I didn't know. And anyway, yeah,
I
kind of
never
funny.
watched the
Weather
Weather
Channel.
Channel, so I don't know.